running out of room in the smaller shop. We needed a hub dyno. The roller dyno just wasn't cutting it anymore. Horsepower figures, cars are getting faster, bigger, more powerful. We just required more area. We needed to do more cars at the same time. We needed more hoist space. We required more tooling. It just made everything need bigger. From the business operations side of things, we bought a machine shop and put it on site. And the reason behind that is just to be able to finish our work quicker and have things done in a shorter time frame. So at this stage, we're only doing cylinder heads, whether it's reconditioning, modifying, dry decking, oversizing, surface grinding, pressure testing, whatever is required for the cylinder head side of the business we're doing. We are planning for future for the bottom end side of things, so in the sense of honing, balancing, etc. That's to come, but at this stage, due to the room and also the limited time frame that we had to move into the new shop. The way we look at it is we started pushing the envelope of Evos a while ago now. Whilst all the 3 and 400 kilowatt Evos were running around, we were up in the 5, 6 and 700s. We were pushing the limits of them back then and developing our parts and our products alongside with Land Speed Racing and in relation to using the products that they had on hand as well to be able to push those cars to their limits. 1,000 horsepower Evos, plenty of them. Just look behind us. They are literally an everyday thing now. Well, definitely the parts. The parts played a very big part. So where we were getting things custom made to be able to hold 1,000 horsepower out of a 4G63, you can now buy off the shelf. Drag Battle is a return for us a couple of years on. Our last event showing proved that we were very competitive. We took the top spot towards the end of the event. We battled on with the car and we got it working. It did take a little while to get around the conditions and everything else that was occurring at the time. 2 years on, I believe we still hold the record at Cootamundra. I don't think anything's actually touched Ali Bazzi's executor time. We're going back this year. We're going back with 6 cars, 5 of which are Evos, 133 Skyline. Skyline just for fun, burnouts. Ali's car's a lot bigger than the previous set out. It had a 72mm turbo when it ran the 8.7. As you know, he hit the brakes before the end. There was a lot of emotions around that. There was a lot of commotion. When we got back, the reality kicked in and we're like, okay, well, we could have gone faster, could have been better. And had we had the time with the car earlier, it would have definitely been better. So this time around, we're going to come a little bit more armed and prepared. So out of the 5 Evos that are going, we've got as small as 800 horsepower and as big as a lot. 4G Queen is Brooke's car, my wife. Purposely built for street duties. It was never built to race. It was never built to be a drag car. It was never built to be a circuit car. It has no actual proper title as such. Built to be comfortable and drive around, obnoxious and loud, ridiculously fast, and a lot of horsepower. That comes from my end, I guess. We did appear with the last Cootamundra 2 years ago with the car. First outing, just finished. Ran 10.0. Back then, it was a little bit more tame. We had the car thinking about 800 horsepower. It had more in it. We didn't use it. We were just still testing. We were more concentrated on Ali's executor. This year, we're taking it back and we're planning to turn it up and use everything it's got and hopefully break that 9-second curse that it's got. Car's done as fast as 156 before with a slight smaller setup. And this time we're hoping we can just break that 9-second barrier. Brooke's car's a 2.3 litre, one of our special combos, long rod. It runs a Super 99 turbocharger, Ram CNC program head, oversized valve, our own spec cams, custom made. Runs a Haltech catalogue through it, Samson's gearbox, group end ratio, so it's very short. Again, designed for the street rather than the drag aspect. Runs a street tyre 90% of its life. Does put a radial on, change shoes when it goes out to GDR Festival and or Cootamundra events, which is the only times we really take the car out to race. Presentation is key. It's every car of ours presents well, whether it's 1,000 horsepower, 500 horsepower, or 2,000 horsepower. Irrespective of horsepower, it's got to look the part. That car also has exactly that. It's got that function and form. It's green. Brooke likes green. It's detailed the way we detail all of our engine bays. It's no different to any other one. Customers and all our personal cars all have that presentation aspect built into them, and a baby seat. And it will be driving to Cootamundra with a baby seat in it. Luke's Oh Moist, the car that started us in the Evolution platform. Luke's car started the stock block arguments on the internet. It actually broke the internet when it made 438 kilowatts on a factory Evo 7 engine. It was untouched, unbelieved, and everything else in between. Internet war, basically, that car created. When Luke's car came out with a GTX 35 on it, on a standard Evo 7, block with standard conrods and pistons. I think that scared a few people, and it was just unseen before. We pushed the envelope, it made really good power, and we felt it. It did eventually blow up, so apart it came, rebuilt again into a 2.3, and it developed from there. At the moment, it's got one of our 2.3 litre packages, very similar to Brooke's engine and Mayhem's engine. However, it runs a much smaller turbo. This is like absolutely targeted for street driving. He does like circuit racing, so we set up a PPG dog box in it for the circuit side of things now. So essentially the ratios aren't the best for drag racing. However, he enjoys the way the car drives now and what it does. It's making about 820 odd horsepower at the moment. It's got a GDX 3584. It's on about 46 pounds of boost. Runs a Haltech Elite 1500 with the catalogue behind it, with every possible requirement needed to make that car tick. It's got a wave track transfer case front diff. It's got a Cusco rear end, factory shafts, just billet shafts in the front, absolutely standard driveline everywhere else around it. Turbo manifold, custom made by BBS Fab. Twin wastegates, upgraded to Gen 5 Turbo Smart, new generation. Turbo Smart gear throughout the whole car. Luke's driving his car from the workshop to Cootamundra and back. Mayhem was built 3 odd years ago now, basically street car. It was purposely built for street, being able to take his family to the shops in it, and obviously still have all the requirements that Mitsubishi had on board. Still runs air conditioning. At the time when it was first built, it had a 3884 turbocharger. Mayhem attended roll racing and won the event. It went down to Eastern Creek following week after that. Went 9.6 at 150 without gas on board. Since then, it's been redeveloped, so it's got a 6870 turbocharger on it now. Makes about 890 horsepower. It hasn't seen the street since, actually. We moved chops. It was apart. We're waiting for race fab frames and everything else. So the driveline of Mayhem's definitely been all upgraded. It runs a Samsonite sequential, RS rear end, carbon tail shaft, billet transfer case. Very similar gear that's been developed on Ali's car in Executor has taken place into Mayhem, knowing that it's reliable. It's all about reliability with his car, being able to drive it every day without any ongoing issues. Turbo Smart Ultimate Street Car. We'll be driving to the event from Yas, and we'll have a baby seat. Mine. Costs a lot of money, don't drive it. No time. Nothing's changed with 4G King. It's still exactly the same as it was the last outing at Cootamundra. Same horsepower, same turbo, same absolutely everything. 4G King's now paddle shifted and has been for about a year and a half. I think I paddle shifted it just before GDR Festival. So yeah, so that was a little bit of development there to make that paddle shift system work in the car. It's still makes 1,000 odd horsepower, 1,050 or something, somewhere there. Nothing's changing. It's coming out to Cootamundra as it was last time. It's still a heavy car. It's still got its stereos and its interiors and its roll cage and all the pretty bits. Essentially, we're just taking it out to race it again. I think it went 940 or 920 at the last Cootamundra outing. I can't remember, somewhere in the line of that. It was pretty good for a car that sort of had no time spent on it to even try to go fast. This time, maybe we'll get a chance to give it a much better run and maybe turn the bottle on. Skyline. Daniel from Southern Eurotech, a friend of mine that specialises in European performance cars, owned this 200 kilowatt or 300 kilowatt Skyline back in the day, which he enjoyed more than his European cars. So a lot of burnouts, a lot of fun stuff in Mexico. Lifted the head on it, we pulled the engine apart, and it was just a very minor repair that turned into a Niro 2.8 litre pretty much overnight. It's got a sine drive oil pump in it, so that was just as they released the sine drive oil pump system. So basically we just got the 2.8 litre GDR stroker kit, whacked it into an RB25, done some in-house porting. Obviously the cylinder head was done all in-house, oversized it, did what was required in the cylinder head side of things. It's a very basic cylinder head / clamping setup on the car. It was never intended to make 10,000 horsepower. It was purely intended for what it was used for before, burnouts. It's got an Aeroflow 35 frame turbo, makes 800 horsepower at the hubs, tapping out and squeezing and wringing the neck out of that Aeroflow turbo. It works quite well for such a small turbo on such a big engine. It's responsive, it does everything correct. Runs a Haltech Elite 2500 through the NSP software. Haltech catalog across the board, EGTs, wide bands, coolant pressures, map, oil, anything and everything you could possibly need. Runs an ETS intercooler alongside with all of our cars, minus Brooke's car, which still runs a Plasman 3-inch Pro Series. Custom fabricated in-house, custom manifold, 50mm turbo smart wastegate, e-boost 2 in boost management, and a factory RB25 box and shafts. It doesn't need an introduction, that car, does it? Internet breaker, I call it. Every time something gets posted of Ali's car, it seems that it upsets a lot of people, and all of a sudden 1,500 and 2,000 and 4,000 horsepower Evos appear. Ali's car definitely pushed the limits of Evos with the 4G63 platform. For a 72mm turbo that was hanging off that car, it annihilated times, records, miles an hour, and everything else in between. And a car that weighs at 1,345 kilograms, no driver, it's heavy, it's bulky, it's fat, and it's a street car. Visually, the changes are the color. You can automatically tell straight away that it's gone from its green origins to now its new orange and grey theme. That's an Elite Autohaus theme that we've now started with Ali's car, moving on to our drag car, our upcoming drag car. Visually, it's a lot different in the sense of what it looks like. However, mechanically, engine combination, it's exactly the same. Nothing's changed. It's actually still running the same engine. We have not replaced the engine, nor have we pulled it apart. We believe it's good enough to go out and do what it does. It was time to step up to the big boy turbo. So everybody laughed at our little 72mm turbo. So we're coming after the big boys. We put an 83, 85 on the car. Definitely big for a cast block. With Ali's 2.3 litre and having small amounts of puff through the attempted two-step with such a big turbo, it's never going to come on boost. We know this already. Nitrous will be staged in to bring the turbo on and turned off, obviously, so we can slow the thing down. We've put a brand new Turbo Smart E-gate on it to be able to sort of control that boost a little bit better for launch. That's probably going to be our killer at Cootamundra, is trying to get the E-gate to cooperate with the big turbo and the nitrous and everything else, trying to get the car to take off. So I think that's going to be our battle at Cootamundra. So from the drivetrain side of things, Ali's car, nothing's changed. The gearbox is still the same, still runs the same Sonus sequential. The transfer case is still the same, still got the Magnus billet transfer case in it with a wave track diff. The rear diff has a motion control land speed supplied diff center, carbon tail shaft, billet shafted the whole way around, which it's broken many of. It's got a still a Pro Mod style manifold, a lot bigger this time around. We needed more flow. Back pressure was an issue with the 72mm. We knew this. So when you're running 85 pounds of boost and you've got 100 pounds of back pressure, it's never a good thing. So this time around, we're aiming to be at 1-to-1. Engine-wise, exactly the same. Nothing has changed. Same package, same combo, still running the same cam, same bottom end, still a 2.3 litre custom stroke. Obviously, it's got a custom crank and everything else in between. Nitrous shot, still got an onboard 500 horsepower if needed, 250 to get the car going. Will we use both? Maybe. Will we crack the block in half? More than likely. Are we going to be upset? Definitely not. A billet block to me is not considered a 4G63 block. However, there is one sitting on the shelf and on the bench ready to go. Cast is what the car came out with. To make horsepower, you need capacity. You know, our 2.3 litre with 80 pounds of boost becomes probably like a 10 or 15 litre engine. However, it still started life off and it's still racing under the 4G63 flag. I know many people are trying to push the cast block. Many people have had failures. As a reigning record holder at Cootamundra, at this stage, we're not under any pressure to go any faster. However, we've set up the car to do so. So breaking our own time was always the intention of heading out to Cootamundra. We're just hoping the conditions are right and the stars align. So at this stage, there is still development to be had. We're hoping that Friday will give us the chance and the opportunity to test the car and, get it to take off, get it to, to work. Things change. Everybody knows this about Cootamundra. You leave with a perfect car from here, it doesn't even start there. We will develop the car as best as we can on Friday and get ourselves ready for Saturday. This time around, it'll definitely be entered in drag battle. Drag car, well, as you know, we started building the drag car a couple of years ago. We fabricated, we changed, we chopped up, we did everything that was required of us at the time Then we decided to push the envelope again. We thought, if Ali's car can run an 83mm turbo, well, it's a waste of time putting it on a drag car. So 100, 105, 106, 110mm, needs something bigger. So we've refabricated, rechanged. Once we were finally happy with the combo that we're going to put onto the car and race with, we sent it off to paint. The guys at MacArthur Auto Body gave it a nice freshen up. We got a custom body kit made for it overseas in the UK there, wide body. Again, yeah, same as Ali's car, the colour scheme's just going to carry through. With the circuit car, we're coming after open class. We bought the car as a rolling chassis from Indy, from IS Motor Racing. The plan is to send it to Sydney Composites as soon as we get back from Cootamundra to get all of its aero package done. It won't look anything like what we're seeing at the moment. It's just a guinea pig waiting at the moment. I can't decide. Street, circuit, drag, not sure. Let's do it all.